In this video, we're going to be taking a look at GrooveFunnels and Groovepages, and we're going to be talking about pop-ups. So to get started, we're going to hop into our dashboard. If you don't have a free account already, link in the description. We'll pop over to Groovepages and GrooveFunnels. Inside your free account, you have 3 free sites that you can build. If and when you get the 3 free sites, you can click to upgrade to Pro. We'll go ahead and open the editor. Once you're inside the editor and you have your page template selected and you edit your site, when you want a pop-up, you simply come over and you select pop-ups. Create new pop-up. Here you're going to have the default pop-up 1 as the pop-up name, and then you have 3 different types: standard, entry, and exit, and we'll cover those 3 and what those options do. Once you create your pop-up, you'll see that the canvas is a bit empty, and then you have some templates that you can select from here to get started, or you can simply select the empty template. And if you move this over, you can see the empty template. Then once you have that centered, of course, this depends on your screen, how big it is, how small it is. One of the annoying things that I found is when you click to close the add the new pop-up, it takes your pop-up away. It doesn't actually remove this pop-ups menu, so you don't have a full screen to work with as you do here inside of the normal editor. But again, you go back to pop-ups, go back into edit if you want to edit, or you could simply delete, or you could click rename, and then you could rename this pop-up, and you can select rename. We'll go ahead and we'll delete this one and start over, and you'll see here we're back on the page. We'll go back to pop-ups, and we're going to go through each one of the pop-ups. Here we're going to start with the standard pop-up, and the standard pop-up is just that. A standard pop-up is triggered when the user clicks on an element on the page that you have linked with the pop-up. And of course, you can link it to all the pages you have, or you can link it to the individual pages if you only want this pop-up to work on that page. We'll just say all pages, and then again, we'll select a template. Now you can see that you have that template. Of course, if you click on that template, it will open up the styling options for each one of the options. For example, if you wanted to change the background, you could simply come here, you could select a background color, and you can see that the background color will change. All the options are available right there to save that and make it the way you want it. After you do that, you simply click save, and or if you're ready to save and exit, click save and exit. Then at that point, once you have your pop-up ready, what you need to do is come into elements, and let's say that you wanted to add a button. You could bring a button in over here, and once you have that button, you could click on that button. You could say configure. Now what you can do is you can link that to a pop-up. And of course you select the pop-up, which is the standard pop-up we created, and you say update. Then you come up to publish, and then of course you publish this to the domain that you've set up, and you go ahead, you select publish. Site publish in progress. Changes usually go live within a few minutes. And then you can click here to go to your site. Then you can see your site here. Of course, this button is just used as an example. You'd want to style this to make it match your page. But if you click the button, you can see that the pop-up is now available. Notice here that there's an X here to close the pop-up. The next one I'm going to show you is how we could actually add a button to the pop-up to close the pop-up, or to say no thanks as an example. But we'll go ahead and we'll close that. We'll go back inside of Groovepages, editing our page. Now we'll simply go back to pop-ups. We'll click the plus sign to add a new pop-up. In this case, we'll make this an entry pop-up. An entry pop-up is a pop-up that's shown to a visitor as soon as your website page loads. On which page this pop-up appears, again, all pages or the individual pages that you choose. And now you can say the pop-up behavior shown on every visit or only show on first visit. We'll say show on every visit, and we will set a delay for 2 seconds. Here you can see this looks a bit empty. We'll go ahead and we'll select a template. Once that template is selected, you can see here, you can edit that template. Again, if you were to click on the template inside of that container or the entire block, or the whole block of the pop-up. And once you're inside of that block, the main block of the pop-up, you can see the highlighted space which contains the entire block of the pop-up. For example, the text is by default the parent. It inherits the text from the parent. You could change this simply by coming down, selecting Barlow, or going here and selecting Bitter. And you can see that all the fonts are changing, and they're now set to that bitter text. Again, all these options are available. We'll go ahead and we will save and exit. Now when we come back to publish, we'll come down, we'll publish that website. Site publish in progress. Changes usually go live within a few minutes, but may take longer. Usually by the time you read that and you go to the page and refresh it, you will usually see that in 1, 2, boom, there's your pop-up in 2 seconds and your pop-up is working. Now what I wanted to show you again was that X right there. Again, the X is available, but let's just say that we want to add a button here below this that says no thanks. What we'll do is we will close this. We'll go back to Groovepages. We'll go back to Popups. Here what we'll do is we will edit this entry pop-up and we will change it to an exit pop-up. Again, the pop-up name is up to you. You don't have to name them exit, entry, or standard. You could name them whatever you want. For example, you could say exit 1. You could say the only pop-up, and then you could set this as an exit. And then you can see here on all pages or the pages that you select. And you can say here show on every visit or only show on first visit. We'll say show on every visit. And then at this point, what we wanted to do was add a button here and let that be the replacement for the default X that we had before. So what we do is we come over to Elements and we simply move this down here till we find a button. Then we grab our button and we drop our element in right there, which is our button. Again, this is just an example. This would be styled. If you click on the button, you have the option to style it as you see right here. Here we come to Configure and you'll see a toggle switch right here. Close pop-up on click. Simply select that close pop-up on click. Of course, under the main button label, you could say close this window or no thanks, close this window. Click update. You can see here it made the button big enough for the text, and we'll simply go ahead and save and exit. Of course, we'll need to publish those changes. Publish that by clicking the publish button. Site publish in progress. Changes usually go live within a few minutes, but may take longer. Again, it usually takes just as long as it takes to refresh the page, and then what you're going to see here is you're not going to see the entry pop up anymore, but if you watch my mouse here next to the logo ipsum default logo, I'm going to exit off the screen, and now you have the exit intent pop, and what you have here is no close this window. Of course, you still have the X up here, but you give a better option or a clear option to your audience that may be frustrated with this pop-up, and then they can simply see the button here to either subscribe to the newsletter by entering their email, or now they have a very simple option here, less frustrating than trying to find this X. They can simply click no thanks, close this window, and it simply closes the pop-up. Back inside of Groovepages, again, pop-ups, the different types of pop-ups that you have, all available when you hit the plus. You can name your pop-up, then you have the standard, the entry, and the exit pop-up, all fully configurable here inside of the Groovepages builder. If you have any questions about Groovepages, GrooveFunnels, Groove.cm, or pop-ups, go ahead, drop them in the comments. Also, a link in the description in the pinned first comment to get some free training. My #1 recommendation for getting started with building an online business. Click on that link, start the training for free, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.